Unfiltered. Every day, business unfiltered. Always, business unfiltered. Every day.
We are live, Business and Buckets, another business edition featuring Stuart Ortega. Stuart, thanks for coming. Cheers, man. Thanks. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, we'll dive into Stu's story to entrepreneurship and running a business, but how would you classify to everybody, just a broad, explanation of what you do and how long have you been doing it?
Well, I guess there's a lot of different names. I'm in construction, so we're called carpenters, builders, contractors, general contractors. How I got into it, I just learned every trade and just kind of worked it up from there.
How long have you been a business owner running this?
Now you're going to make me feel old. I think 17 years.
17 years.
God, probably longer than that.
Has it gone by fast, or have you feel like you've been doing it forever?
Oh yeah, time flies. It absolutely does. So
cool. Well, the way I met Stu, it is Stuart technically, right? But we call you Stu.
Yeah.
My cousins, which I've told you guys this story before, if you've tuned into Business and Buckets before, are technically my second cousins, Filipino family. You look at me like, wait, you're related to Filipinos? Again, it's second cousins. But being an only child growing up in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, I was very close with them. They were almost like siblings. They babysat me. I was just super close, being an only child that, couldn't stay in the house. And moving out here to Seattle, they were the only family or people that I knew, so it was a big reason why I was able to move out here. At least I knew somebody. And my cousin's husband, Robert, had met you first, right? That's how you got introduced to the family?
Yeah, we're neighbors, and our girls play sports together, and then we just clicked.
They became homies, and he is now part of the family, basically, and that's kind of how we got into this. And obviously I had Dakota, my best friend from Montana, who runs construction as well and does his own business on the podcast. I recently just did an episode with my other friend in Montana, Dylan. He does an excavation business.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't released that episode yet, but lots of just typical business ownership, construction, doing that typical thing. And I think it's a cool story because anyone could relate to it. And anybody could do it, right?
That's right.
They find a certain path. So the big goal of what I'm wanting to dive into today is, well, if someone wants to do it, how? What were your experiences? What kind of things would you recommend not to do so that they don't have to fall on their face and fail forward? I think in business you have to do that to be able to figure things out and get that experience. But, what kinds of tricks of the trade can we provide, and what kind of fun experiences and stories has Stuart been through so you guys can see another path to entrepreneurship on the construction side. So before we talk Stu's life, though, we're going to talk the one and only sponsor here at Business and Buckets, and that is Fueled Supplements. If it's not broken, why fix it? That is the inspiration behind Fueled Supplements' newest product, creatine monohydrate. So why take creatine? Well, creatine monohydrate is one of the most well-researched and effective natural supplements available for increasing muscle performance. It creates and enhances performance of supplying a pool of ATP, which acts as the muscle tissue's primary energy source for fuel during explosive bursts of energy, power, and strength. It comes in 100 servings, non-GMO. It's gluten-free, safe, and effective. You guys already know the deal. Go to fueledsupplements.com and use my promotion code BUCKETS for 15% off. That's promotion code BUCKETS, BUCKETS. And I love Fueled Supplements. I literally wanted one sponsor. I wanted them. The homie hooked it up. It's small business. In the world of Amazon and online shopping, it's easy just to go support the huge conglomerate businesses. But for small business to thrive, we all got to support each other. Sure. And this is high quality supplements. I'm using it today. I use the daily multivitamin. I have energy. Stu called me this morning. I probably didn't sound the same. But this is going into week 11 for me consistently hitting the gym. I'm using their protein, multivitamins. I have a fat burner. I have a supplement knocked out to help me sleep. I have the whole shindig, and it helps me perform every single day. Look good, feel good, do good. You know the deal. Check out fueledsupplements.com. Shout out to Josh Moore and crew. Much appreciated. But don't forget to support small business. But speaking of small business, we got the guy right here. We got the small business owner. And you've been doing it, you said 17 years.
Yeah.
Which is wild. A father of two, right?
Yep.
Married man.
Yes. Happily.
And let's kind of talk about the roots and the origin of Stu's upbringing. But where were you born and raised? You weren't born and raised here in the Northwest, were you?
I was. I'm actually from Gig Harbor, a little town near Tacoma, is where I was born. Yeah, I was just. I went to high school, Gig Harbor High School, and started learning trades there. As a matter of fact, I got into finished carpentry and started plugging away. Didn't go to college. Just started to plug away and learn a trade.
Yeah, one of the things that I always talk about is the difference in generational guidance. My generation, it was like really like, hey, if you don't get a piece of paper and that degree, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like you're not making any money. And as kids, you're like, oh my God, like I got to go to college. I doubt it was like that when you were a kid. So talk us through that. What was college like? Was it even something that was recommended? Was it something that you were just like, that'd be kind of cool? Or what was kind of the aura around college?
Oh, yeah. They pushed me just as much as they pushed you. I mean, they really wanted you to get that college education if you wanted to make the big bucks. Unfortunately, I wanted to become a firefighter. And becoming a firefighter, it was just very competitive. And so you had to try have another path or another career option just in case you didn't make it. And actually, when I was trying to become a firefighter, you're more or less a glorified paramedic. You're not fighting actually fires. So your dream kind of shatters there. So I got into construction, and then it just kind of went off from there.
Why firefighting? Is that just like,
I
want to be a hero? Or...
No, my old man's a firefighter, or was a firefighter. My uncle was a firefighter. It's in the family.
How come you broke the curse? You broke the path, bro.
I did. Thought that backdraft was the way to go, but it wasn't.
Was the family a little upset about it? Did they really push you to do that? Or
No. Everybody was supportive. I just, started just going into the construction, and I fell in love with it, actually. And so everybody saw the passion that I had in it, and they supported me 100%.
Was there any influence in construction in the family? Did you have any relatives
No.
that did it, friends, or was it just an idea? You're like, this is what I'm going to do?
This is what I'm going to do.
What do you think led to that? Just the idea of putting something together, seeing a finished product, or?
I mean, honestly, my family's a little religious, and Jesus was a carpenter, so I kind of went with that, and I just kind of just learned trades. There was no inspiration. Like my dad wasn't a handy guy, or any of that. No uncles like that, but it just took off and started going to town.
So how long were you in Gig Harbor until?
So I was in Gig Harbor till 99, and then I went to California.
And that was like after high school, or after you completed a trade a couple years after high school?
After high school, went to California, chased the waves and the babes, and went to a community college there to become a firefighter, and just realized that it wasn't for me. Came back home, got into a trade somewhere. I think it was a framer. And then actually I went and worked for a daycare, and that's how I met my wife.
Oh.
Yeah, I worked at a kindercare, played dodgeball with a bunch of school agers, which was fun for about a year. And met my beautiful wife, and the rest is history.
It's crazy. In Gig Harbor, only child, multiple siblings. How'd that situation roll out?
Like you're saying, how many do I have, brothers and sisters?
Yeah. Did you have a bunch of siblings? Are you only child?
No, I have a brother and an older sister. My older sister lives out of the state, and my brother still lives now lives in Gig Harbor. So he still lives there, and that's it. Just a brother and a sister.
Brother younger then, or?
No, he's 1 year older, and my sister's 7 years older, 6 years older.
So you're the baby.
I am the baby.
What was it like growing up with your family in Gig Harbor, being the youngest with your family? Was they very hands-on? They kind of set you up for like, this is what we're doing? Was it just kind of free-for-all? They were over it because they already had two kids? Like, what was that like?
No, now he's getting personal. No, family wasn't really the families that everybody, sees on TV. So I was just, pretty much venture your own, that's pretty much how it was. I was chasing the dream that my dad had, so I kind of wanted to be like my dad, right? But there was no push there.
How powerful is the push of the whole dad dream? I mean, you're a dad now. Obviously, you've had daughters, though, no boys, right? So a little different. But do you feel like that was something that you just had to be a part of? Do you feel like that's still something that you think of as a dad today, and it's kind of ingrained in you in that matter, or do you feel like it was just standard, day-to-day stuff?
Yeah, it was just standard day to day. Yeah, it was nothing.
So in Gig Harbor in school, were you involved in sports? What kind of size of it? You say small town. I'm literally from a town of 1,000, so
Yeah.
your small town could be 1,000,000. And
No, probably 2,000.
Really?
Yeah, we were pretty small. I mean, it's big now. But yeah, and I didn't play any basketball or sports. I mean, I was soccer and stuff when I was young, but when I was in, middle school to high school, I did extreme sports, skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, wakeboarding. But yeah, no baseball or football.
So Gig Harbor is a coastal. It's right on the water on the Sound, right?
Yeah, it's in.
Is it an island? Is it on one of the islands?
No,
or
it's not an island.
It's by Bremerton though.
Yeah, it's
lots of military.
Yep. Yeah, it's. I guess it's on the other side of the Sound, so it's still part of us. But
Navy, just kind of blue collar type place.
oh yeah, yep.
You got into extreme sports. I'm, somewhat of an extreme sportist. I tried skateboarding, hit a rock, ate shit on pavement, and that would hit different. I was like, no, fuck this shit. Some of my friends were really into it, but I was a big snowboarder, and you could wreck and hurt yourself snowboarding. It's a little different vibe. But how did you get into that? Seattle's not really known for surfing. Where did you go to learn how to do that? What got you into the nature type sports? Was that something that your family had always done, or were you kind of the rebellious kid that wanted to try something new?
Totally the rebellious kid, want to try something new. No, family gatherings to go skiing or none of that. So it's just, probably had some friends when we met in high school and kind of just clicked from there and started picking up the sport. So yeah, it's pretty nice to know how to snowboard and ski and to do all those extreme sports. A lot of kids don't know how to do that stuff.
Where'd you learn how to surf then? Did you do it
on
the coast of Washington? Did you travel to go do it?
Yeah, so my dad's side of the family lives down in California. And so all his brothers and sisters taught all of us kids how to surf and paddleboard and all that stuff. So I'm actually now training my girls to do the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where at in California? Like right in LA or?
Orange County, San Clemente, near Dana Point.
Really nice area.
Oh yeah, it's very nice.
Good place to learn. Pretty good for surfing there, or?
Oh yeah, for beginners for sure.
Okay. So wasn't involved in school sports, did the outdoors. I mean, the Northwest is cool. Obviously being in California is great because you have rivers, lakes, mountains, ocean, all in like an hour area. That's, I know, one of my favorite things about the place. Mm-hmm. But to be able to fund those, I mean, obviously the dollar was a little different back then, but those aren't cheap things to do. Did you work during school? How were you able to do that? Did you just have your parents pay for it? What was that like?
So again, family wasn't like you see on TV, so we definitely had to fend for ourselves. Excuse me. And so I had a full-time job. I think I was a junior in high school. I had a part-time job. And then I had to have a 40-hour a week straight out of high school. Or actually, I was a senior, and I didn't even graduate, got my good enough diploma, and I just kept going. Started working the hours and putting in my time and learning the trade.
What was your first job?
So I was a finished carpenter, so I started hanging.
In school? And during high school days?
Oh, I'm sorry. First job, of course, dishwasher, just like everybody else, if not. And then worked myself up to a cook. And so I worked all the way through a restaurant.
Right in Gig Harbor?
Yeah.
What was the restaurant's name?
It was called Spiro's.
Is it still there?
It's still there. Yeah, it's pretty tight. Everybody likes
taking us there for dinner. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. I could actually probably make you some.
Still?
Yeah. No, it was pretty fun to learn all that stuff and learn how to make some dressings and how to, make good food for people. It's pretty fun.
So I know when I was in school, jobs were competitive. It's not like today. I tried to get a job during school, during the school year that was very flexible because I took sports as a priority. So doing a lot of sports every season, you could only really work weekends or evenings. You kind of had to work around. And I could never find a job because they wanted someone more available. It was super competitive. Everybody was looking for jobs. So that kind of burned me. So I ended up working in the summers, a lot of manual labor to make enough money to, like, if I wanted to buy a pair of Nikes because my mom would only let me go to Payless. Like, I fucking didn't want Payless. So I was like, well, I got to get a job. So that's kind of how I went through that process. For you, was it very competitive to get jobs then as well? Was it like, hey, just go get an entry-level job, move your way up, and then just go from there? What was the thought process when you were a kid trying to get a job?
So my thought process was, get in. I didn't really have a problem getting a job, to be honest with you. So I applied, I got the job. To move up the ladder to get the amount of money that I needed was a little tricky. And the little tip that I have and trick that I used was because I was for instance, carpentry, I would learn part of the trade at a base salary. I'd learn the trade in 3 or 4 weeks. I would quit my job. I would get on with another finished carpentry contractor and tell him I know these trades in this position, and he would allow me to get that pay. And I would just keep doing that. And I would allow myself to be where I needed to be comfortably and what I was happy on doing for, the amount of time that they wanted me to do it for.
Sounds like the typical Seattle software worker, right? I work in software. I've been in sales since I've been here. And right now it's like a free agency pool. The employees have all the power.
Yeah.
So they will go get a job maybe in small, medium business, working businesses, employee size 200 to 2,000 maybe. They'll put that on the resume. They'll get their year in. They'll quit. Go to another company. Like, cool, I need to do bigger than that.
Yeah.
They'll go do that. They'll quit the company, get another, and then they just keep moving that resume up. I always laugh at that because a lot of people do that in software, and some people abuse the system, so to speak.
Well,
but
as long as they perform, then yeah.
Exactly. But it's funny you say that because it's a very relevant thing done to this day, and definitely can help enhance the timeline. Right? I've utilized that in journalism and in sales, so I can relate to those things.
Well, that's good to know because I didn't know. I thought it was just
most industries are kind of the same way, man. I mean, it's. What I love about sales, and I've talked about sales many times, I apologize, viewers, but it's a life lesson that relates. You're always going to sell yourself, right? You're going to sell yourself in an interview. You're going to sell yourself for a date. You're going to sell yourself to get someone on your podcast or whatever the fuck it is. We're always selling ourselves. And I think that in work and business and resumes, and now you have social media like LinkedIn to sell yourself. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So
Yeah, I agree.
So, back into Spiro's, working at the dishwasher, getting in where you do like a bartender, a waiter, server, like what was that like and how long did you do that job?
So dishwasher, and then I did line cooking, and then I did the prep cooking, and that was it. And I probably did it for 2 years while I was in school.
Any skills from that you still use today? Did you learn any cool things of cooking? Did it help you become more of a cook? Do you cook to this day, or is that all wifey?
Yeah, I mean, I cook. She cooks more than I do. I mean, I guess I'm a better dishwasher. That's about it. No, didn't really learn anything. I mean, to work hard, right?
Really
to wake up early every day, to get there on time, to put my time in to work and show that I could do something, and do it every single day. So yeah, I learned that to being dedicated to somebody.
The core building blocks to set you up for the actual work, right?
Correct.
So, getting into the trades, you did that post California, right? You went and did this serving job, then went to California.
No, I did the serving and then server. I never was a server.
I don't know.
Let's make that clear. I washed dishes and I cooked. Didn't serve nobody. So after I was done with that, I did go to California, try to become the firefighter. Couldn't because of Enron and power outages, political reasons, and I couldn't afford it because I wasn't a rich kid. So I came back, and that's when I got the job with my sister at a child facility, a kinder care, and I would play dodgeball with school agers, and that's when I met my wife. And then at that point, I wasn't going to play dodgeball for the rest of my life, so I wanted to get a job. So I got a construction job up there.
So in California, where at in California did you move? Was it San Clemente area or
No,
somewhere else?
it was San Diego. Went to Mira Mesa Community College.
Okay, and then you went there strictly because of the college?
Yeah, for
and
the
you
fire.
wanted to be in Cali, obviously, to chase women and waves.
Yeah, waves and babes.
Waves and babes. Were you surfing when you were in school, or were you mostly just brought in?
I had to just try to, make it. It was really hard to make it. there.
Well, I mean, for your instance, like you didn't really want to go to college. You wanted to follow the dream of being a firefighter, so you had to have some sort of schooling that costs money.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But living in San Diego, like as of now, it's probably not as expensive as it was then, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap.
No.
You know, how were you planning on affording to do that? Were you like, hey, I need to have a job and go to school? Was it, just trying to get whatever firefighter thing you need to get as soon as possible and then get out of there? Like, why was it that school and why firefighting there?
So I did. I looked at, because it was near my family first of all, and it was a good program for the fire department, a fire program, and so But my goal was, once I got there, of course, I had no money, maybe $1,700, and so I had to find a place to stay. I did have a friend who had a girlfriend that lived down there, in Santa Monica. So I had somebody with me, right? And so we shared a room, and I swear it was $900 a month, and we shared a room like literally the size of this room. And it was hard. I had to get a job, and that was hard. So I didn't make it. It just didn't work out. I didn't have anybody to follow. Well, first of all, I didn't want to ask my family. I had people all over California, and they all got mad because I didn't call them up and ask. I could have got a job at Vaughn's or any of those anywhere, but I just didn't. It didn't work out, and so I ended up coming back home, which was, meant to be.
Well, I love that story because a lot of times, a lot of people going through school probably tune in. This is really the idea is to help future, business people or people who's trying to figure out career paths, but also might be, somebody else who's been running an industry like a server for 30 years is like, can I quit? Like, maybe they hear someone's story, I could figure it out. There is an opportunity to change. But me moving to Seattle is kind of the same thing, right? I had $1,000 to my name. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had to figure it out. And a lot of the people that we have on this show, they kind of do that, right? They're like, hey, I want to try something. Worst case scenario, I come back home, right? But it's ballsy to do. It's not the easiest of things, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows, especially coming out of school. You're going to have to go through some adversity because you don't have a nice nest egg, right? You're not making consistent income. You're going to start at an entry-level job, which doesn't pay very good in most instances. So I like hearing that. But having to get a job, trying to figure out the firefighting thing. What was some of your favorite moments being in California or memories at that time? And what were some of the learning lessons you had before you'd come back?
I think just being there and doing it on my own, out of a state, on my own dime. I think that was like the highest time of the whole experience down there, but it just wasn't for me. I mean, it was just, in California, you know how it is, it's so fast, and it just wasn't, and it was expensive. I couldn't afford it, and so I just had to come back.
How old were you at the time?
I was 18. I was 18, and I came back when I was 19. I think I lasted 4 months.
Okay, so not very long. But a lot of people, 18 years old in California, like, hell yeah, I'm California dreaming. Did you have any experiences that stick out there, like, holy shit? Or was it just grinding, trying to make it most of the time?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you get out of high school, you have a goal, you go to the college, and like 70% of the people that go to college, you guys get your degrees and you don't do the job that you got your degree in. So you just wasted $50,000-$60,000. You're still paying on it. It's like that. That's kind of like what I went to. I went to my goal, my college. I was going to be a firefighter. I didn't have to finance $50,000 or $60,000, but at least I didn't pursue something that wasn't actually going to be my actual dream. I thought I wanted it. I really wanted it. I still wanted it today. I see firefighters today. I'm like, man, I was going to be one of those guys. But again, I knew what it was. You're washing fire trucks. You're going to accidents on the freeway. You're not fighting fires. And so, what realized to me, when I realized that in California, I was coming back to Washington to become a forest firefighter. I was going to be jumping planes. I swear to God. And then I met my wife, and realized I shouldn't be jumping out of planes, and digging ditches for fires in the forest.
But let's say we're at a bonfire, we're having a couple Modelos like we are now, and you have a story from your 18-year-old days in California. You got any fun stories of like, yeah, dude, I fucking was surfing, or, you know, we went and saw this, it was the coolest moment at that time? Because a lot of times, I know I've been to California like 18, 19, and everything there just seems so awesome because it's your first time, or, you know, it's California. There's a lot of crazy things there. Any good stories for us?
You know, at the time that we're talking about when I went to college, no. I was trying to not fuck up. You know, I didn't want to fuck up. I wanted, I was on my own. I didn't have a mom or a dad to bail on. No one to back me out, so I didn't want to fuck up. So I didn't have any. Before that, you know, when I was in, there's tons of stories, but we don't need to share that on this podcast.
Okay. Well, I think it's a really awesome thing at that age because it's kind of like a bird leaving the nest, right? You're out of the nest.
Early.
You don't have a nest egg again. You have whatever amount of dollars in your wallet that you have, and you have to figure it out. And I know for me, graduating college, obviously I got to learn a lot of that during college. But then coming here with no safety net, it was like I felt like I matured a lot faster than the peers around me, and just kind of grew up, learned a lot of life lessons because I was forced to do that. Where maybe a lot of people here have family with money, you know, they went to UW, got a nice degree, different situation, different background. But what kind of life lessons did that prepare you for? Do you feel like it put you in a position to mature, come to realization of like, oh, this is some real world shit? And do you think that helped you come into entrepreneurship or be better as an adult?
Yeah, I mean, it I had to save. I had to make sure I stacked up what I have and not spend like a dumbass. And knowing that there was no safety net, you know, I mean, if I had failed, which I have done plenty of times, I learned from it and learned from my mistakes and wouldn't happen again and just grow. And I mean, so far so good.
Yeah, I mean, fail forward is one of my favorite phrases, right?
Yeah,
like you failed, don't do it again, keep learning, move forward, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty much, I mean, the best tip that I can give anybody, you know, make a mistake. You know, it's okay. You learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. My favorite, in my first sales job, we used to have like these motivational speeches, and they talk about movies and how the best movies, there's a lot of adversity. Like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's the best movie. Why? Because what did he not do in there? He created the smiley face. He created Apple. He ran across the country. He played football for Alabama. He ran a fish boat, right? He did every little bit of thing that you could do. That's what makes sweet movies. No one watches a movie that's like, yeah, dude, I grew up, had a good family, got a sweet degree, got the best job out of school, and became rich. Like, what kind of fucking movie is that, right?
That's fucking horrible. Who wants to rent that one?
So life's going to bring you ups and downs, and I think probably people that are watching this, I mean, it's 2022. We've gone through a lot of shit the past few years, so I think maybe people going through this are going to be tougher than, you know, what other people have seen, especially if you're, you know, young, trying to get into business or trying to figure out your career path. I'm very grateful, I know for myself, that I'm in a position where I had a lot of like those boot camp days, like bottom of the barrel jobs, moving your way up experience, because I got a lot of that when it was hands-on before the pandemic. You're not a remote worker. Like I really feel for the young people that are trying to learn these things because they're just at a Zoom on their fucking laptop and they don't have that interpersonal ability. They don't get to like shadow someone, have mentors, because I think that's very huge in having that experience. So I know for me, I'm very grateful, but in today's world, I think a lot of people going through a lot of shit, it's going to make a lot of people tougher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're running a business, right? Running a business right now isn't the easiest of things. I mean, construction maybe is nice because a lot of people building houses, you know, getting shit going. But I guess we'll backtrack here a little bit to the kinder care job. So, pieced out of California. You wanted to jump out of planes. Did you want to jump out of planes and got the kinder care job? Like, how did that work timeline-wise?
Yeah, so I was going to be in the forest fight. I wanted to do the forest fighting. And then I was working at kinder care. And then again, I fell in love. And, you know, she doesn't want me jumping out of planes and fighting fires. So I had to get a real job.
How long were you working at kinder care, and how long did you meet her before you guys started dating?
I would say I worked there for a whole year. I probably flirted with her for like 4 months. And then we started dating like 6 months into that year.
Were you dating while working at kinder care together?
Yeah, for like maybe I'd say like a month or 2 months.
And then you're like, hey, we probably shouldn't do this, or what?
No, they all found out how much I got paid, so I thought, oh shit, I'm getting out of here.
That's funny. What was your title and actual like role responsibilities there?
So I was school age teacher, and all the kids that, I think it was first grade and up to like sixth grade, they just come there and I'd entertain them until their mom and dad picked them up. That was it.
How do you even get into that job?
My sister ran one.
Oh, okay.
And so I needed a job when I came back from California, and she got me the job.
And was this in Gig Harbor?
No, it was up here, or excuse me, it was in Seattle.
Okay.
And so my mother lived in Seattle, so I was staying with her, and so my sister got me the job, and then I worked at the kindergarten for a year, like I said.
Where exactly in Seattle?
Just north of Seattle in Linwood.
Okay. And your sister helped you with the job. Your parents were dad's side in California. Was it your mom in Seattle at the time?
Yeah.
So obviously they were still, hanging out, providing guidance or, direction, I guess, at that point. Were you really close with your parents at that time, and are you still very close with them to this day?
I was going to say there was no guidance at all. And
just
no, I'm close with my old man, and I haven't talked to my mom for a while. So they weren't really parents. They were more about themselves when I was growing up. So.
And I know for me, I didn't really have a dad. My dad left when I was 6, so there was no really fathership side. But my mom, just had different mentality goals, different lifestyle that, I wanted to do something different. I moved to Seattle, and I, appreciate all the things that she could provide to me. But we were just on different, like, this is the path that I want to go, this is the path you're going, and it's kind of like split the roads. But I always felt bad moving here because, it is expensive here. It's not easy for someone to vacation. You got to pay the flights. You do anything here, it costs an arm and a leg. Like, we just paid probably $40, $50 at Fish and Chips, $50 in Montana. Like, dude, I could go to a really fucking nice place for $50. You know what I mean?
And stay the night.
Exactly. And get it all you could eat buffet. No. But it's just a different lifestyle. So for you, being the youngest of 3 siblings, going through this time, kind of just having to figure things out, what was that experience like? And do you think that it helped in your entrepreneurship of like running your own business, thinking for yourself, that sort of thing? Or do you wish that maybe you had some more close relationships and guidance there?
I mean, it sucked. I wish that my family was there. But at the same time, I think it made me stronger, right? You're on your own. You make a mistake, you figure it out. That's what it is. You figure it out. It's the bottom line, because you can and you will. That's it. Anybody can do it. And so that's what drove me. And I think it really helped me out. I don't think I'd be the person I am today if it wasn't for that. It sucked that my parents weren't, trying to guide me to do something or, or even support me at all. It fucking sucks. But, I think I literally wouldn't be the guy I am today if I wouldn't have had that experience, and I still love my dad and my mom. But, made me stronger.
So you're in kindergarten, you fall in love with Kara, sorry. Was this your first big relationship? Had you had others, like maybe a little high school thing or something?
Yeah, I had
earlier,
a friend in San Diego when I was down there. Other than that, yeah, she was, Kara was my one and only true love.
Did you think that it would actually turn into something like marriage, or did you think it was just like, oh, let's see what happens? Are you kind of surprised looking back at it or not?
Yeah, I don't know. It's that, it was love at first sight for me. So yeah, I thought she was the one.
She just did really good handling those kids, or what?
What's that?
I said she just did really good hanging out with those kids,
yeah,
or what?
I guess so.
Like, dang, I want you to do that to my kids one day.
Yeah.
How long did you date before you guys got married?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a year and a half, 2 years before we got married. 2 years.
So what did you do from kindergarten before getting married and getting into the trade? Did you go straight into the trade after kindergarten and then you started thinking about entrepreneurship once marriage came around, or how did that go from kindergarten on?
So after kindergarten, I got back into finished carpentry, which was hanging the doors and doing all the trim work inside of a home or an apartment. And because it had benefits and better pay. And then, I just kept working up each trade from there. At one point, I wanted to ask my wife or Cara to marry me. And so I needed better benefits like, health and dental and the whole works, 401k. So I had to get another job. It was still in the construction field. It was in the glass industry. And so I got that job to get me benefits. So then I asked her to marry me. So that's how I learned that one.
So through that process, at this time, did you ever think like, hey, I want to do my own thing at one point in time? Was this not even on the radar at this point? Like, where do you think that came from? And was this relevant years after doing a trade, or is it something that you always thought you might end up doing?
Nope. Still didn't think I was going to own my own thing. No, just kept plowing away. Started working, kept working, and kept working. And no, I never thought that I was going to own my own company. Until I got hurt. My hands and my elbows were a little overdone, right? Because I was like the right-hand man, so I was doing everything. And so I had to have surgery, and once I got out of surgery, the boss man wasn't looking at me like I was the same guy. And so that's when I was like, well, if I'm not going to get any, if I'm not going to get any higher in this job and I'm already doing everything, why don't I just start my own thing? I'm doing it already. And so that's pretty much what happened, is that, I kind of worked myself to the core, to the bone, and realized, why don't I just do this for myself?
And was that kind of an epiphany thing? Did you ever have your boss like, hey, one day you've learned this much, you could do your own thing? Did you ever have like mentors or guidance to kind of think bigger into entrepreneurship? Or was it literally just like, come home one day, you're like, what the fuck am I, I'm just going to run my own thing?
So, yeah, I got like, worn out, came back. I wanted, I don't know. I don't know if I asked for a raise or something. And it just felt like I was like, that injured pitcher, and I wasn't going to be able to pitch the game anymore as much anymore, or it wasn't just there anymore. Like, he wanted to trade me. And so I was just like, I swear it's how I felt. And so I was like, you know what?
The sports analogies.
I think I should just, go on my own. And so I started looking into going on my own, and yeah, everything just worked out.
Through the process of moving up, doing the different trades, was it always the same guy, or was it multiple? You said you had went from a few. Was it?
Yeah, it was multiple people. There was one guy that I worked with for a long time, and I did learn a lot from him, how to do things on my own without another pair of hands. So his name is Lee Jones. Shout out. I wouldn't say he is my mentor. After I got, I quit that job and then I started Paramount. I have a family member, my wife's brother's father-in-law, did work for Anthony's Homeport Restaurants. I did a lot of construction, so we went into business together, and I learned a lot from him on the commercial side of it. And then, a lot more into the trade I've already knew that I thought I've mastered. He even mastered me even more than that. So if I was going to say anybody was my mentor, it would be Gordy Reinholzen.
And did you always stay in the same area through the different guys that you'd work with, or did you have to move and kind of go around the Seattle area? Or?
Oh, yeah. I was on the east side, Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond. And then when I was with Gordy, we were at every restaurant. So there's one in Des Moines, Gig Harbor, Ballard, Seattle, Everett. And then now I pretty much just want to work wherever I want to work.
And when you were doing that, you gave him a shout out as being somewhat of a mentor.
Yeah.
Did you have other people that were like maybe working with you on job site that you saw that were kind of mentors or people to look up to or paths that you were following, or was it mostly just trying to get as much in a resume sense to be able to keep moving forward, keep getting better pay, and living a better lifestyle?
Yeah, it's just learning. So I love the job. I love what I do. So, and that's really hard for a lot of people to actually it's really hard for people is to love, to do, you love what you do. A lot of people just have to go to the freaking desk and sit there and wait for the fucking time to clock out. So I love it. And so I wanted to improve myself in every aspect of the whole trade. And I'm talking not just one trade, the whole project. So if I'm doing the carpentry in the house, I need to learn everything about the house. And so that's what I did. I've learned every single detail that there is to do with a house.
Now, when learning multiple different trades, was there one that you liked that you maybe thought you'd focus on a trade yourself once you were looking into business, or did you want to be able to do it all the whole time?
So I fell in love with glazing for a while. I did open up a company, very successful. I didn't have the money to keep it rolling. So I bailed out of that, but it was a trade that I really liked. If I was going to say a trade I would love and I wanted to like stick around and keep doing it, was probably, pushing dirt. It's really fun. It's something that I could see doing all the time. But my whole career in construction, I couldn't sit and do one thing over and over and over and over and over again. When I was in the glazing,
You don't like doing the same shit every day?
no, I frame, I tie rebar, I dig dirt, I hang sheetrock, I'll spray the house, I'll do the siding, it's every day is different. And so I like that about it. When I got into the glazing, I did it for 3-4 years, and it was just, you wake up, you do the same shit. It's every single day, and I needed something different. I need to go zigzag, not, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Not a robot?
That's what I felt like.
For a lot of people, even myself, glazing, what does that mean?
Oh, it's glass. So like mirrors, shower doors, windows, stuff like that.
You liked the finessing of the glass or what?
Well, high-end shower stalls, you those bougie ass, the glass that surrounds that's what is the nicest thing about that industry. Hanging a mirror, putting a countertop glass piece over a table like this is nothing. Replacing the window that you broke with the weed whacker, it's nothing. But building a shower stall, that in the glazing industry part of it, that's pretty cool.
All right, so you gave us a lot about the glazing, the experience of that. Was your first technical business? Was it an LLC? Was it, a thing that you had a bunch of employees on? What was that?
So that was my first business venture. So I was in the glazing industry under a company, and I learned the trade, quit that one, went to another company and got more money. And then that guy saw how good I was, and he wanted to go into business with me. So the owner of that company, and his nephew opened up a company in southern Washington, like right next to the border of Oregon and Washington. And it was going great, but then his partner up here found out that he opened up a business in Washington, which is the same state, which just means you're competing against yourself, was going to sue him or something like that. So he had to bail out, and he had the money, and I didn't have any money. So I had to let it go. So his nephew had stayed with it. And I think the word was that the uncle ended up buying it with the other guy that was going to sue him. So they all own it. So it was just a shit show. But again, it's a business learning experience. I didn't have the funds. I created the company. I created the sales part of it, the installing part of it. But I just couldn't fund it. I have to have a check every payday. And so once I found out that was not going to happen, I came back.
Was it an LLC?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to dive into a few parts. There's a ton of awesome things we can break down here, but we're going to get another Modelo first.
Oh, God, thank God. I'm in traffic.
All right, we're back. We're going to jump right back into the glazing business because I think this is a huge thing that school doesn't teach you. Even if you get a business degree, they teach you a lot of specifics about business. But one thing that I know I lacked, and you could speak into this maybe for yourself, but they're not like, okay, this is what it takes to open up a business.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about my first sales job out here, it was like a management school. It teaches you the ins and out, how to hire, how to fire, right? How to keep balanced books, how to do taxes, how to do those things. Those are such valuable things that nobody knows. But also like, okay, what is the process of opening up a business, an LLC versus a different type of business, right? Okay, I'm hiring employees. Am I 1099ing them? Am I, getting them salary? What kind of benefit? There's just so much shit that's involved there that I feel like it's not easy to learn about. I mean, the World Wide Web is a big thing now, and you could probably figure anything out if you dive deep enough. But in that sense, the guy that had worked in the glazing business with you that had his brother running up north, you guys went down south. Was this something he sold you on? It's like, hey, me and my nephew are going to do this. We'd love you to be a part of it because you do good work. Explain some of those details there. You said he was the money guy. He put a funding down. Did he have to get a business loan for it? Did he just hand it all up front and want you to be, kind of the right-hand man, have some ownership values, or what was that like?
So in that aspect, all it was like was he pretty much paid for everything. He got the license, insurance, bond. So I didn't learn anything on that experience. He just knew I was the best installer of that company that I was working for. And so being the best, I mean, I don't want to say toot my own horn, but he just thought, you do everything well, the ins and outs of the business. So come down here and start it up. So I got the building. We rented the building. I turned it into an actual glass shop. You have to build things and storage and all this other stuff. Buy the tools, and then we had to hire people, and then I had to go out there and start selling ourselves, going to all these new construction homes. So I guess the experience that I learned there was sales. But I did not learn the whole licensing, insurance, and all that stuff. So I had no idea.
Was the sales pitch to have some extra overhead? Were you just getting paid higher? Like, what was the benefit of you being in this with them?
I got $900 just to drive down there. So that was huge. And then at the time, and then my paycheck, and I was part owner of this thing, so it was kind of cool. I mean, it was the one thing that I felt like I was an actual adult, like I was like the boss man. People have to look up to me.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 22, 23.
And you were married at this time or dating?
I want to say I was married.
Did you guys move down south, or did you stay and just commute?
We were super close of moving down there.
Before it all shut down?
Super close. I don't think Delaney was born yet. But we were super close of moving down. And it was farm town, so like my wife was not dead.
Were you just staying and working for some time off and then coming back on the weekends then, or?
Yep, I was down there during the week, come back on the weekends, go back down there during the week, come back on the weekends. We were just sleeping in a trailer park right down the street from where the warehouse was. It was pretty ghetto, but it was, I was trying to make it. I was down to do it. That's back then we had Nextels where they were like walkie-talkies. My wife had one, so she'd be like beeping me every night. It was cool.
That's funny. Did you guys ever actually hire employees and get it going, or?
Before I left, no. It was just me, him. We had the whole shop looking really nice. And then when I bailed, I probably did 2 weeks of just nonstop sales. And there were 99% of it down there. It was all new construction. They were just about to boom. And so I met a lot of people. And they all wanted to try us out because they were all new contractors and they wanted to have the bottom dollar and good, just trying to sell yourself. And once I left, my phone was blowing up and they really wanted to try and hire us. And so it was, I was kind of bummed that it didn't work out because we were so close. But that company's still going today and it's owned by that guy. So
what was the name of it? And did you guys come up with the name? Did he already have it?
Oh God, we did come up with the name. And I was thinking about this before we took our break and it'll come to me.
Did you have like a logo? Did you guys have like that huddle session? Because that's always like, that's kind of the dream, right? Like, hey, we're starting something new.
Oh, yeah.
Will it work? I don't know, but I'm going to give it my all. let's come up with the name, let's come up with the logo. It's kind of a fun time. So I was curious if you could put us in that mind. Like, were you super hyped about it? You're like in this serious relationship or married at the time? Like, hell yeah, I'm about to run a business.
No.
Did you feel like you're on top of the world? Like,
That's next story. Like? That's next company.
Okay, well, what was your mindset at
this
time?
one, I wasn't. It was him and his nephew were probably more.
You were just excited to be a part of something.
Yeah, I wasn't into the name. I don't think.
Okay.
They asked me if it was good, and I guess it was all right. But I was like the manager, the project manager of the building. They were like the.
And when you say sales, were you basically just going to new construction sites like, hey, we'd love to work for you. This is the kind of the things we charge, the kind of work we can do, like a cold call sell or what?
Yeah. So another tip, in construction, and the internet, which is great, you can find out every single construction permit out there, and in the state. And I'm talking, it's like this thick. And you just start going and the addresses and you start driving to these sites. Some of them haven't even been cleared. Some of them are in framing stages. Some of them are in siding stages. Some of them are done. And you just go and 99% of them were in framing stages or just about starting to frame. And so I'd meet the guys, give them my card and give them the spiel. Like, we just want to give you a competitive bid. Give us a shout. We do shower doors and mirrors. And that was it. And man, our phone was blowing up.
Did you ever have that experience before? Or was this your first time? And what was it like? Was it nerve-wracking? Were you cool with it?
It was pretty cool. Wasn't nerve-wracking because I knew I had a check coming in. When I knew that there was no money going to come in, then it probably got a little bit more, scary. But I didn't have any problems. I didn't have to worry about funds. So it was just more of an experience. It was pretty cool. It was driving and don't know where you're at, and you go in and you just start selling yourself. It was pretty cool.
Was that your first time doing something like that?
Yeah, it was my first time. I was 23.
Because when I did the painting business, basically going door to door, I still had a baby face, looked like I was probably 16.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'd love to, give you a bid on painting your house. Looks like you'd have to paint. Sometimes it get looked like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of my house.
No, it was really cool. It was very professional.
Cool. So then what happened after that? You get told you're almost about to move down there. You're recently married. Maybe the kids were in the discussion at the time, but this happens. Like, where was your mentality at? Were you like, oh shit, like I got to restart, or hey, I'm just going to open up business from here? Like, what was the plan and where was your mindset?
After that, I think I just came back and got back into another company to just keep making a paycheck up here. And then, I started Paramount. So, I ended up working for that guy, Lee Jones. That's how I met him. And he was remodeling. So he'd do additions or remodels to houses, flip them. And then, but he would work on them for a long year, and just do it himself. He would hire some contractors like electricians and plumbers. But other than that, that was it. And that's where I learned a lot of the trades. And then when I got hurt from that position, because I overworked my hands, that's when I decided to go on my own.
Did you have to be out for a while then when you got hurt? And were you just like on paid leave? What's that called?
L&I.
L&I.
Yeah. So that was like a shit show. Did the L&I. I didn't want to, but they knew it was work related, so they told me to do it. The boss was cool about it. It was kind of a weird experience.
How long were you out?
Shit, I had to do both hands and my elbow. I was out for a while. I'd probably say a year, maybe 6 months.
So this could be a big moment. I know, I'm going MMA only on the sports side. You talk about a fighter, they're finally moving up the ranks. They blow out their knee and they're sitting there.
Yeah.
They don't have any money coming in. They're just kind of bedridden. You're in your thoughts all the time. So I'm curious, what was your mindset like during this time? Like, you're married at this point. Did you guys have conversations about kids before during this? Were you like freaking out because you're just kind of bedridden and didn't know what was next? Like, was it a good time? Was it able to help you think a lot of what your plans were? Was it a depressing time? What was the mentality like? And, what were your thoughts of like, this is what I wanted to do? Because obviously it led to Paramount. But
right. So yeah, again, we're all over the board, but I did have a kid, Delaney, my oldest.
Before the hands or after?
That was during, I think it was, we had the child, then I had surgery on my hands. So she was about 3 or 4 during the surgery.
Oh, okay.
So then yeah, I don't know if I talked about it with my wife, but I had like literally had to think about, it was like an injured player, right? And the guy wasn't going to keep me playing anymore. How long was he going to keep me for? I had to really, so it was kind of stressful. I mean, I was kind of like panicking a little bit. What the fuck am I going to do? And I just pulled the trigger, and really it was super fucking easy. You go to the damn, you look it up. Okay. Thank God for the internet, because it wasn't around when I was a kid. So it told me what I had to do. You go get your insurance, your license. You specialize on what your trades you know what to do, and you pay that shit every month. I mean, and you go out there and you sell yourself. Well, shit, I just got a bunch of sales experience, so I know how to go out there and buck up and sell myself. That's right. I know how to use my hands. And so that's where I learned this experience for sales, and then. So I said, I got this, why not? Why do I have to, my boss played Sudoku while I built houses, and he collected all the money. So why couldn't I do this? So I just pulled the trigger. I mean, I don't think there was a discussion. I think we were just like, we were always nervous. I was always nervous trying to make sure I paid that mortgage. And again, my wife, a lot of days, or in the past, old school, your wife stays home. I guess they do it today. Your wife stays home and takes care of the kids while the husband's at work. It's old school now, dude. She worked, and she works today. And I don't think that I could have done this without her doing that, so she helped me fulfill the dreams I'm living today. So
if I got this right, you had a 3-year-old, you're on the hand thing, you're going through this, you're thinking about what's next. You decide to pull a trigger on running a business. Was she working and providing dual income at that time? Were you on L&I as well?
Yep.
At KinderCare still? She
was working for Premier Blue Cross. I was on L&I, and we had a 3-year-old kid.
And you talked about the mortgage. You owned a home at this time?
Yep.
How long had you been owning a home at this point?
So we bought our first home when we were 20.
So a couple of years at this point?
No, maybe we were 20. 22. So, married, bought a house, like literally story by the book. Had the kid.
And fucked your hands up.
Yeah, fucked my hands up. Got a new, started my company, and now I'm on cloud 9.
Where did you buy the first house at?
In Everett. It was a little house.
And when you bought a house there, you just got a big mortgage, got a big loan and paid for it that way? Did you have some cash down? And
no.
While you were on L&I, was that probably one of the bigger components of stress, just dealing about that as a new homeowner? Or because buying a home the first time, it's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah. So for one, Cara and I did not have any bailouts. We don't have no parents that had money. No one was going to help us out. So it was us. And if we failed, we had to figure it out. And so she had a job. And we were, it was a $210,000 home. We didn't put any money down. Back then it was cool. Like if you were a first home buyer, there was programs. Like I didn't even have to put any money down, and we got the house. The worst thing is I had no credit. She had shitty credit. And because she had shitty credit, we got the house. So, I mean, you need like 30% down or something like that. 15% down. It's ridiculous. So I don't know how you guys get houses nowadays, but.
So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, my man.
Fuck, dude. So
I'm about to rent a 4-bedroom house instead of buy one.
Yeah, better off. I mean, it's just ridiculous until something changes. But yeah, so yeah, and then when I was hurt and I was collecting L&I still gave me a good chunk of money. But I can't sit still, so that was the problem. I'm not supposed to do anything, so I'm collecting this check. But yeah, it was stressful that once L&I's done, I go back to work. Am I going to have the mortgage payment and all that other stuff? So yeah, it was pretty stressful. Plus we have a kid,
So how did you make it through all this time before the Paramount idea? Were you just having a good routine? Were you into working out, yoga, meditation, just surrounding yourself with people? Did you just spend it with more time to be with your kid? Like what got you through all that shit?
I don't know what really did. My wife got me through it, If I didn't have her, I probably would have, made it.
But what did you do with all your extra time since you're all fucked up?
I mean,
Like, spent time with the kids?
Oh, yeah.
Did you try to, like, look into business shit? Like,
So-
what were you doing?
so you're not supposed
You got a
to.
lot of extra time.
I remodeled my house. I swear to God. So I'm not supposed to do anything. I got one arm I can't because I didn't do both hands at the same time because I gotta wipe my ass. So I did one hand at a time, and so one hand was, and we had this super small kitchen, and we have a 3-year-old. So yeah, I can't sit still. So I remodeled my kitchen. I mean, I was getting a check from L&I. I was healing, and so why not have a new kitchen? And so that's what I did with my time. That kept me sane. And so I kept doing what I love to do.
Were you a stay-at-home dad, or did you guys do daycare?
Well, I mean, while I was in L&I,
Yeah.
I was
Stay
pretty
at home
much,
kicking it.
yeah,
Some good time, though, right?
Yeah.
Extra time you got that you want to have,
with the babies, yeah, when they were babies, yeah,
Because at this point, you only had one, though, right?
right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay, so Paramount. Why Paramount? How did that name come around? And I guess it's still Paramount, right?
Yeah, it's still Paramount Construction. I'm trying to remember. So we wanted mountains.
Who's we?
Gordy was my partner.
The mentor?
Yeah, the mentor was my partner. And I liked Mount Rainier because I'm a snow guy. And he likes the sailboats and flying. So he has the sailboat. I have the mountain. And I can't remember if it was my wife that said Paramount or if I said it. I can't remember. I'll give it all to my wife. So Carr, I think, brought it up, and I thought it was brilliant because your house it's paramount that I do a good job, right?
Yeah.
It's a great word, and I thought it was that moment. It was like, hell yeah, Paramount Construction.
So how did the partnership start? I didn't realize that you had a partner when you first opened up. So
Oh,
was this your idea?
sorry.
Did you work with him on this? Was
No,
it like, hey, let's do this together?
I needed to open up a business. I wanted Paramount Construction. Couldn't get LLC. Somebody already had it, so I had to do LLP. I know it was fucking stupid. So I had a small partner, and then when that partner had left because of family issues, Gordy, I needed somebody to take my other position, the partner position, and Gordy was there, and I asked him to be my partner, and he became my partner.
How long was the first partner there, and why did you need a partner?
So
Tell us the details.
I
man.
know,
What the
bro.
fuck's
I'm
going on
sorry
here,
because
man?
there's so much shit.
We,
So when
all
I
we got is time, my
when I
man.
first started Paramount Construction, I had one of Kara's high school friends worked for me, and we did like cash side jobs. And I asked him, "Do you want to start a business? You could be my partner." And so we created Paramount Construction. And he like didn't have anything to do with it. He just was on board, kind of like I was on the other one. And
But no financial
No.
put in here. It was just basically a worker at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he didn't know much, he was learning from me. And so he got into some family issues, so he had to leave. And so I needed somebody to take the LLP partnership so I didn't lose the name. And so I was going to have my wife on there, and Gordy was doing the restaurants, and I thought, well, shit, maybe this is, I offer him part of my company, and I get into the restaurant industry because Anthony's Homeport Restaurants, they're millionaires. I think they pull in like 70, 80 million, 100, probably 130 million nowadays because they have just opened the one up in Alderwood. So I mean, they're just they make like the Edmonds one is like 60 to 70,000 a day.
Yeah, it was like a fancy seafood place when I moved here. I always ask people where seafood is, where's a good spot. Anthony's is always good. I like it. It is kind of expensive for what you get. Living here, I'm very biased towards Salties now. Like, fuck Anthony's, I go to Salties any day of the week, but...
Oh, yeah.
But
anyway.
It is a nice place.
It was. And so then Gordy was my partner. And then, Anthony's just... They're cheap-ass rich people. And I couldn't do the favors. Gordy would love to do favors for him, but I just didn't want to do it anymore. So, he pretty much kind of like retired. So he got out of my company, and I put Kara's name on there. So he's now retired, Gordy.
But
So
it's still Paramount LLP.
still Paramount Construction LLP.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then I started going bigger, doing bigger additions into new construction. And so I've done 6 houses in my career, and I'm 40 years old.
How many years has Paramount been a thing? Because you said 17 years, but is that all Paramount, or is that all through your trade and everything? Like, how long has Paramount been here now?
So Paramount's been here, since 2005 or 6. So how long is that?
It's like 14 years.
14
Or,
years.
no, I guess 16 years.
So 16 years I've been in business.
Okay, so quite a while. With Paramount, did the work that you did at the beginning always stay the same, or has it evolved and changed up? And if it did, why did it change up?
So, yeah, we used to do bathrooms and kitchens, and then we went to additions, and then now we build homes from the ground up. And so, the craftsmanship's always going to be there. We take pride in what we do. We don't use shitty products like OSB. We always use plywood. So the product, the grade has always been there. So that's never changed. But yeah, we do a lot more,
Why has the work changed? Like, you built the house from the ground up. You said you used to do kitchens and bathrooms. Was it like, hey, we're doing this, we realized there wasn't as much overhead, I'd rather contract that out? Like, how has the work evolved and why? Like, what's the real reasons why?
Because I love what I do. And like I was telling you in the beginning of this conversation, is that I want to learn everything about the house. So if I've already known everything about the house, then why hire somebody to do it for me when I can just do it myself? So now I do 99% of the stuff myself. Yes, it's tiring, but I love it. I just love doing it. It's like playing a video game, you just can't stop playing. You just want to play it all day long until you just can't play anymore. And that's pretty much what it is. I think I wanted to keep it going until there was nothing left for me to build. And that's what it was. It evolved me into doing more and more and more. So
do you have employees now?
No, after COVID hit, I had 6 employees. They all left. And then I didn't want to hire anybody back. I didn't want to take the PPP loan. With 6 employees, I could have got a fat loan. But I didn't want to do that. I don't like loans. And then, and when you have employees in my industry, it can go well. And when it does go well, those guys eventually turn into guys like me. Why am I doing it for somebody like him when I can do it myself? So they go quick. 2 years tops, they're gone. When you have a real good employee. When you have the shitty ones, you keep them going, but you're still doing the same amount of work to where why are they even here? So it's like, you know what? I might as well just take my time, do it like that guy I met in the in the middle of my career, Lee Jones. He had his son and he had me, but he did a lot by himself, and he taught me how to do that. So I just started doing it by myself. Yeah, it's dangerous, but at the same time, it saves me a lot of money, and it worked out.
So you had up to 6 employees. When you first started, did you, what was kind of the vision of like, hey, I want to get as many people, we can work multiple jobs at the same time, and I just want to keep growing, or hey, I just want to keep it small, keep myself busy, make as much money? Like, what was really the goals behind it?
So my goal was I had a shop already. We were building custom cabinets. Anything you wanted, we built it in the shop. So we had that. I wanted employees. I wanted the job vans. I wanted them to go out, and I could just sit there in the office like the man, just going, there's my guys going out, right? That's what I wanted, It's just fucking expensive to get there. And in this state in particular, the state of Washington, they like to take a lot of the money. And so it's just really hard. It can be done. But when I got to the point where it was like, So I was stressed out by doing the work. I want to make sure I do a good job for my client. And then it got to a point where I was stressed out that I had to make sure that every employee was paid and no one got hurt, and no one's feelings got hurt. And then I was just like a different kind of stress feeling. So it was like, you know what? This isn't fun anymore. I'm not having fun. So then COVID hit and it was like, I was free. So I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm not going to do it again. Fuck it. Do it myself.
What's the most employees that you've ever had?
The most
Employees that working for you?
Six, period. Yeah. Well, I guess on a job site, 8 men under Paramount is the biggest, because you got to count yourself and you got to count your partner.
And you were hiring them all yourself and basically managing them? You didn't have like someone to be the middle guy to kind of manage them and handle that?
No, I hired them, I fired them, I managed them, I trained them, I did it all.
And when you were able to have that many employees, obviously you could get more work done typically, I mean, hypothetically. Were you able to do more houses and make more money that way? Have you felt like you've done better by yourself? Although you're not moving the houses maybe as quickly, it's just more overhead and you're more hands-on, so you're more happy? Like, what's been the big difference between having 8 versus yourself?
I'm going to be honest now. When you have multiple people on your job site, the client feels a lot better. I don't know why. But then, did we get it done faster? I'd say cleaner, because it would go a little bit faster. Okay. I would agree with that. But if there was a mistake made, I would have to go backwards. So like you have to include all that. And so it's like almost a catch-22, but I could say yes, at times there was some projects that would go a lot faster with multiple people.
Do you wish it would have worked out with the big crew and had the vans like you had thought, or did you realize that was just an overrated fantasy or something you saw other people do and that wasn't for you?
I think I like being by myself. I don't like worrying about other people. So I think it was a reality that kind of slapped me in the face. Like, you like this, this is nice. This is great. Don't get me wrong. But it's so much better here. And so it was that. It was like I was driven to doing that. Like, okay, so for instance, again, like you got a guy who goes and builds cabinets for a client. And he's going there and he's installing them. He does that. He deals with that. Or he can stay in the shop and build the cabinets and never have to see the client. It's that. And I think just being independent and not having to worry about anything is what drove me to do with what I do right now.
Now, we talked about all the shit that people have gone through the past few years. I'd love to get the entrepreneurial mindset behind that. Obviously, things changed. You went from 8 employees to yourself. You're happy with that. But what are some of the ups and downs that you had to go through? You didn't get the PPE loan. You're probably having to evolve your business, change your business. And what was that like, managing that plus being a parent, right? You have 2 kids. How old right now?
Yeah, one's 15, the other one's 11.
So like they're becoming little humans,
Yeah.
Like a lot of shit going on at one time. So what was that experience like, and what got you through the times to keep on keeping on? Supposedly.
I know, and I keep saying it's Cara and Cara and Cara. If it wasn't for Cara, I couldn't do this. She was there. She would pick up the slack or be there when I can't be there. So that's number one. Is the partner, because if I just couldn't do it. So that's that.
Okay, well, besides the wifey, I mean, what was the experience like going from the big change at work while still trying to be a parent? What were some of the highs and lows and just some of the shit that, like, was it smooth sailing? Like, oh yeah, you run a construction business, work was fine because construction never died. We never had any issues. Were there issues? Like, what was it like?
Just making
a lot of shit,
just making sure that you're there with your family and not forgetting that you have a family, because, overworking is always, easy to do. And forgetting that you got responsibilities. So, there was some highs and lows, But for the most part, it was just, living the dream, That's the thing. You got to stop and think about it. Yeah, there's some lows, and it's nice to always stop at the lows and think about this. But when you got the highs and the lows, stop for a minute when everything is cool and kosher and think about it. You're living the dream. Sometimes, having a hard time during that dream, it's okay, So I don't know. I couldn't say it was smooth sailing, but I felt great.
Yeah, I know for me, like the simplest of things, and some people think it's cheesy, kind of like a meditative thing, is practicing gratitude. When I'm at my best, I have this Franklin Covey, which is my planner, and I write out like the top things I need to do, and if you don't do it, it goes to the next day. After about fucking 2 weeks of seeing that same damn thing on the paper, it drives me fucking nuts, you know what I mean? But the first thing I do after giving myself like 10, 15 minutes of meditation where it's just yourself is write 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for. And sometimes it gets a little repetitive or you have to really think because you don't want to do the same thing over and over. But realizing, through highs and lows, all the things we have, right? Like for me, it's like, dude, I have a 2-bedroom apartment on Alki Beach. I have my own podcast. I was able to do well in my job to be able to fund that, provide myself an opportunity. How many people can do that, right? Like just every day putting yourself, I'm not in fucking Africa with dirt coming out of water, having to sift some shit or, hunt for food and just all those things. I think that's really important. But again, just kind of a little different angle through there then. In the business side of things, through COVID, did you have more work, less work? When you determined to go from 8 employees to 0, was there any big transitions? Was it weird? Did you have any tough, layoffs? Or was it shitty because all 8 of them quit on you and you're like, oh shit, I have all these jobs, I don't know what to do? Like, was there any kind of friction there?
I was very lucky. Didn't have any problems there. Didn't slow down. I did have one client that got all angry because we couldn't come out when they told us to come out and we were not supposed to come out. Like when we were quarantined, the state of Washington would fine us like $5 or $10,000 if we went and worked, if we weren't in centrals or something like that. And so we didn't work. And so, besides pissing off a client that wanted to break the rules, other than that, it was good. I didn't have there was no hardship. Let me put it that way. I was still making money. But the whole just upsetting somebody, you don't want to do that. And then because of COVID, there's nothing you can do. The mayor, Inslee, and all this, it's just like, I'm just doing what I'm told, So other than that, during that whole COVID thing, was just trying to just satisfy everybody that couldn't handle the whole stress.
And with the past few years, the housing market's been wild. I'm from Montana. I would like to buy land there so I could have my friend build me a house. But land's at an all-time high since COVID. A lot of city people think it's cool to move there now, or they tune into Yellowstone and think this is cool. I don't know what's going on. But my buddy that does construction there is doing pretty good because there's so many rich people coming in wanting to build. For you, did you have, during COVID and after, an increase in work because of something like that as well? Was there any more challenges because it was just yourself that, maybe people wanted things turned around so you had less volume of work? What was that like on a volume perspective?
I had a friend who asked me to build him a house. I built him the house. As I was building the house, somebody saw me build it so well, they hired me to build them a house. And so it was just an ongoing positive thing. So I just kept going and growing, And so now I'm building my own investment home. So, I didn't have any problems, I just kept being me and people noticed. So
now if someone, in the world of online, it's like, hey, if you have a business, like my buddy who runs Field Supplements, we'll shout him out. This is how you check it out. If you want to buy, do it, whatever. You only work in this very specific area, but if someone wanted to find out about Paramount, how would they find you? If they were in the Seattle area, what area do you work? And what would you tell them about Paramount? Like, what would be your sales pitch on Paramount?
Paramount Construction builds good stuff. We help you. We're not all about the money. We want to help you. We want to make sure you guys have, some money in your pocket and we reach the budget you need. We're not greedy. We want to make sure that you can count on us like a family member could. Whether it's, you break in your window with the weed whacker or your kid punches a hole through the door. Or you want an addition or a kitchen remodel. We do pretty much it all. So, give us a shout if you want us to take care of you.
What's the area that you work and how would they find you?
You can look online. for me. I'm also
Facebook page, website.
I think I'm on Home Advisor. You can Google me and you can find us too. I go pretty much everywhere if, money talks. So, I mean, if you want me to build you a house in a different county, then we could do that. But we range anywhere between, I don't know, Everett to, I don't know, Linwood on small projects. And then the bigger ones, we can go as far as Bellingham to Gig Harbor. So that's how you can find me.
Now, tell us a little bit about this investment property. Real estate's a hot topic. I fucking hate TikTok. The reason I hate TikTok and Reels, I'm about to rebrand the podcast. I've told my viewers this. There's going to be the MMA only and then the business side, 2 separate names under the Business and Buckets Podcast Network. But it's challenging because I have to relate to the next generation, right? And they want to have all these fucking clips and all these TikToks. But for me, I hate seeing people that are literally just sitting there scrolling. And sure, can some of it be educational? Can you learn some stuff? Yes. But it's not good for someone just to sit there, scroll, have no emotion, and just use that to get by-in time, in my opinion. So I try to avoid it because I don't want to be, sitting on the couch after work and just sitting there and all of a sudden 2 hours gone by. It's like, what did you do? Oh, I just fucking scrolled through my fucking phone. Right. So that's why I dislike it. But it's becoming very popular. You can get a lot of information out there. But one of the hottest topics since COVID, and everyone thinks they know how to run a business now, is real estate investments, right? And that's something that I'm interested in. So, what kind of information could you tell us on that? How did you get into that? Was it something that you had to fund yourself? Were you taking out loans for it? And what's the vision there?
Okay. So I found a piece of property, of course. I'm learning everything I can on building a home. Right, I started from one trade and learned all the other trades all the way up. Now I'm to a point where developing. I found a piece of property. Luckily, thanks to be to God, it was right next to my house, and I am funding it myself. I found a loan to help me build the project and purchase the land, and so we are doing great. I'll sub out what I need to sub out, and then I'll do the rest myself. And it's not hard. I think anybody can get a loan as long as you got to get good credit. And I think anybody can do it. I'm surprised that someone is dumb enough to give me $1 million, but they did. And I just had my first bank inspection yesterday. And their jaw was dropped because I am almost to trusses and I haven't asked for a dime. And so it's going well. I think that, like I said, anybody can do it. So if you want to be somebody like me, you just need to find a bank, tell them your goals and what you want to do on what, you got to show your plans and your details, itemized list on where the money's going, and then go for it and build your dream, whether it's for yourself or for a family that's going to buy it.
And are you planning on renting it? Are you planning on selling the one you're in now and moving into it? Like, what's that situation?
We are going to sell it. So it's going to go on the market.
Build it and sell it.
Yeah, we're going to build it and sell it. If the market, starts to die down and it doesn't go for what I want it for, then I'll rent it out. But no, we're going to sell it for sure.
So the whole idea was to build it, pay off the loan, whatever overhead you have extra cash now.
Yeah.
And then do you want to do more of those yourself? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think my next goal, I don't mind building from the ground up. I don't like building big houses. It's too much. This one's 5,000 square feet. I think, a single story is a little bit better, but I think that my goal would be is to find homes that are single story that have a potential view and add another floor. So it usually takes, 6 months to add the other floor, depending on if you do anything on the main floor, and then turn the house into $1 million home. So that's, I think I want to find homes where there's places to grow from, not just flip, like clean up everything and sell it. I want to add another floor on it and sell it. So
I know we've dove pretty deep here. I've gotten a lot of learning lessons from different things. I I don't know, I'm 30 years old, parenting's on top of my mind, so I'm going to dive in a little bit on that and how that compares to entrepreneurship because it's always an interesting topic to me. But just on the business side of things, I felt like we did a good job diving into it. But anything that you want to tell people, or like, hey, we missed this, I think we should bring this up, or here's a something that really helped me on this stage that we had talked about that we missed, or do you think we hit it all home?
I think we hit it all. If anything, if you guys want to do something, be in a trade and do a company like painter or window cleaner or general contractor, go get your license. It's that easy. The biggest challenge is proving yourself to the clients that you're selling yourself to. That's it. And then make sure you're insured. I know it's hard and it's tight, but you want to make sure you're insured and covered. Other than that, everything it's pretty straightforward. Chase your dreams. Do what you want to do. That's it.
What kind of insurance do you have? That makes me think because me and my friend were talking because he was asking me about, do you want to go podcast for your own? And like, I leave my corporate job. I don't have my health insurance, which is amazing. I don't have my, I work for a public company, so I don't get those shares, that type of thing. Like running your own business, like cool. Well, now I have to fund extra money to insure myself and be where I was. I don't have stocks, so it's like I'd still have to invest separately to be able to have that other kind of revenue stream. So for yourself, where and how are you insured, and what's that like being an entrepreneur? Do you feel like that's kind of been a tricky thing? Is it kind of an annoyance to you, or it's just part of the process? People don't really think about it. Like, run a business. Like, I'm just going to get this LLC and do it. It's like, cool. Well, how are you getting insured? Like, oh, you have kids now. How are you going to make sure they're insured? Those types of things.
Right. And so this is a really good question because that was the biggest fear of mine. Like, where about my retirement? Like, right, I got the good job before I got married because I needed the benefits, 401k, and then it was gone because I needed to do something else. Well, the wife worked. The wife has the benefits now, and I'm all in. So that investment property I'm working on right now, that's it. That's like, part of my retirement. Everything's in that. So once it's done, then I need to put it somewhere else and just keep reinvesting until Stu wants to retire, and then he's going to be like, no more investing, and then just be done. But yeah, that's definitely, something that we had to keep in mind, get the right insurance. And yeah, I had to charge for it. And people say, well, why are you so expensive? Because I have to insure myself. And so
it's part of what you bill, you get an insurance coverage. And then how are you insured right now? Just some random thing you found, or were you like, hey, people told you this is what you should check out?
Yeah, so you can go to Liberty Mutual, whoever, and they'll tell you. And I had general liability in the beginning. There's certain brackets. So like if you're just a painter, you get a $6,000 bond with a $500,000 or $1 million insurance. If you're a general contractor, then you have to have a $2 million with a $12,000 bond. And right now, they made me go and punch that up because I'm building a house. So I have builder's risk. I have a $2 million commercial on my truck just because I had to tie in the sewer line. It's stupid. Again, it's Washington State. And then I had to get my general liability is now $2 million across the board. Before it was $2 million. And then $1 million across the rest of the board. Now it's $2 million across the whole board. So like literally I'm totally covered in every little aspect. It's over coverage. But there's nothing wrong with that. You'd rather be over covered
Then something happens.
Because I'll tell you one thing I learned out of the 14 years that I've owned the company and the 20 something years I've been in construction. There are fucking crazy people out there that will just sue you for nothing. That's it. It's fucking crazy. Have the insurance. The insurance will take care of you. The hire the best attorneys to tell them to go piss off. So insurance is a big deal.
And this is all stuff you pay monthly, right?
Yep, everything's monthly. And yes, you have to make sure that you make enough. So if you're building a job, for instance, I just got a job yesterday. It was a bathroom remodel. Her toilet, she didn't, you have to pull the toilet off every once in a while and replace that ring. Yeah, I bet you a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Well, she owned the house for freaking 40 years. Never changed it. it leaked, it damaged the floor. I came in there to replay the floor. Now I'm doing the whole bathroom.
Yeah.
And I had to make sure this is going to cover the materials. This is going to cover stew. This is going to cover insurance. Then there's overhead and profit. Mm-hmm. And the overhead and profit is, again, part of the insurance and profit for the company.
Do you have an accountant that helps you with all that, or do you do it yourself?
No, I do it myself. But again, I recommend getting an accountant.
How did you learn all that? Did you just fell forward or what?
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes. And again, you can do it by yourself. If you don't want to hire somebody to do it, because I was a cheap ass, I don't want to hire somebody else to do it. I want that money.
Well, it's a lot of extra shit to deal with, right?
Yeah, but you know, what? Yeah, it is. It's a lot, especially with the state. You have to file with every single city. It's called B&O tax. Business and occupational tax. So if you're just selling paint and you go work in Bellevue, Kirkland, Seattle, Tacoma, all those people get 10% of whatever the hell you just sold somebody. So you got to file that. And then you got to do the other taxes too. So yeah, you know, I had to do it myself. In you know, most of the time I've been in a business, I think this year is the first year I've had somebody else do it for me.
Hell yeah. How's that?
It's hard because you see how much they're
like
charging
too much
you.
Control.
Well, because they're like, here's you owe us $147. You're like, what did you do? I didn't take a job all month. All you did is probably swipe, said there was no work to B&O, and then I'm paying you $143. What am I doing? But you know, I don't have to worry about it, so it's kind of nice.
What also comes from that entrepreneurship mentality, I know for me, like even being a manager and like teaching people how to do things, is like I do, we do, you do, right? But sometimes you didn't want to, like you're so used to being the entrepreneur, the business person in control, it's kind of hard to let somebody else do something because you're always worried they're going to do it right? They're doing these things. So that's also a skill in itself. I think that was a huge maturation stage for me as a professional, was learning how to be okay with letting somebody else do something and how teamwork can really help. Yeah. You know, it doesn't always help that you don't have the right people and the team isn't as strong as it should be, but it's definitely a skill to be able to just be okay with that.
Yeah.
I know that was huge for me. But yeah, I think we dove into a lot of good stuff. We'll go rapid fire here, but lastly, I want to talk, you brought up Cara a lot. With health insurance, does she have health insurance for you because you're married as well? And obviously the kids are handled until they're a certain age?
Correct.
Okay. Because without her, you guys being married, you'd have to get your own, right?
Yeah, I would have to, you know, find my own insurance and pay for that.
And that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about being a parent versus entrepreneurship? What would you say has been the harder one? Being a business owner or being a parent?
Oh, being a parent.
Why?
Because you don't want to. Because if you
fuck up the house versus the kid.
yeah, like you know, you can always fix that, but you know, you don't want to fuck up the kid. You can't fix that. No, you just want to be the best and make sure that they, you know that you want to just raise them right and raise them the way you want to be raised, you know, and they don't. It's hard being a parent, way harder. You just don't want to fuck up.
Did you go to someone for advice on being a parent, or was it just something you and Cara worked out together?
I think the fact that Cara and I both love children really helped out in the beginning. You know, I say in the beginning because she does a lot now because I've been so busy. She's just been taking the girls to sports, so she's been definitely the soccer mom, softball mom. But yeah. What was the question again?
I was just saying.
Because of the daycare thing. We knew how to discipline a kid that wasn't ours. I mean, we learned a lot about children in that time of working there. So I think that we had a little bit of experience, so we knew what we were up against.
And did you guys always want to have kids right out the gate?
Yeah, we actually planned everything, which is kind of weird. I don't know why. We got married. At 22, she was 22, I was 21. We knew for some reason 26 is when you have kids, 25. I don't know why, the math and all this other.
It's a woman thing. I just went through that age. That's why I'm single. We'll say that.
I don't know, but
it's their clock, you know.
I guess so. So we had the
that
kid.
might sound rude, but that's just my experience, just so people know.
Well, probably. Well, 26, we had the child, and then as soon as she was out of diapers, we would try for the next child because you don't want to pay diapers twice because the shit's expensive. And so it was just, it was clockwork. We knew exactly what we wanted, and we had it. I want another child, and she doesn't want one.
Did you guys always want two then, or was it we had one, you wanted another, now you want one, she didn't?
I think we got to the second one, and she was like, I think we're done. And I was like, whatever, I want another one. Of course, everybody said, didn't you want a boy? I don't want a certain sex. It would be cool to have a little Stewie. I don't want it. It would just be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, props to you having two women. It's funny, a lot of my friends that are like real guys always have girls, which is hilarious. Yeah. And then they like takes them like 4 or 5 to have the boy, and if they go that far, they do. But it terrifies me as a guy. Because to your point, I mean, it'd be nice to have a little boy. Nice to have both or whatever. But what's been the biggest blessing having 2 girls? Basically a family full of women.
It was super easy in the beginning, and right now it's starting to get hard because they're maturing.
Yeah, I'd be terrified to have a daughter in today's world. Guys are disgusting, so.
Yeah.
Like a chastity belt, no cell phone.
Oh, God. So, yeah, I've already told them, if you think I'm not at that party, I am. So, we'll see. It's getting kind of scary.
What's been the best part of having 2 daughters, though?
Oh, the best part is being loved every single day. I mean, they're just so loving, and they just say good things about me all the time. So it's always nice to have that.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we've gotten enough. I know we've gotten deep here, but I'm going to do rapid fire, just some basic questions that I ask everybody. I'm going to start with the tough one. Tell us about one of your darkest and hardest times that you had to push through. Could be personally or professionally.
Wait, darkest
and hardest, like just the deepest, darkest time. And how did you push through that moment?
Hardest time, hardest time. Fuck. I don't know. My hands where I couldn't work.
Okay, and elaborate.
And then how did I push through? I fucking worked anyway at my house. Like I don't think I have a dark time, bud.
You never had adversity once?
No, and I just don't want that to happen.
Keep knocking on wood, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the toughest, probably, being laid up, changing businesses, thinking what to do.
Yeah, that whole time when my hands were hurt, and your boss looking at you like I was the pitcher that wasn't going to be pitching next year. That was tough, because and I never played real sports like that. So it's like, I felt what that felt like. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, I could do the same shit. What are you talking about? Just because I was injured doesn't mean anything. And so I guess that would be the hardest part of my career.
And you said Kara earlier, but what helped you get through it?
Kara.
Okay. You're gonna have to have her on, dude.
I know.
Who do you want to shout out for being your biggest inspiration or motivator?
Didn't I say her name 5 or 6 fucking times?
Elaborate.
Kara, her
love
too.
Listen to this later.
No, yeah, she's the only inspiration I have.
So give us some details.
Yeah, she's
why
great.
Are you shouting her out? Why is she such a good inspiration?
Oh, because she's just someone you want to fight for, someone you want to work hard for. Kids, same thing. They're just so great. You just want to really do the best that you possibly can for, and like literally every day a song comes on, it's just like their faces I see, and it makes me want to push harder and harder. It's crazy.
If you could simply give a life tip or hack to the audience, what would it be?
Like what? Give me an example.
I don't know. Anything. It could be anything personally or professionally that you felt like, damn, I'm so glad I knew that. If I didn't, like, shit would be more difficult or harder.
If I would have known
like,
that,
dude, hydrate before you drink.
No.
After you wake.
If I would have known that I didn't, if I would have known that I didn't need anybody else, like seriously, like you don't need your mom and dad, you don't need your rich aunt or uncle, grandfather. It's all you. That's it right there. It's you.
That's sweet.
So if you want it, it's all up to you.
If you want it, go get it.
That's right.
Throughout your young adult life, what has been your most humbling moment and your highest of high?
My humbling moment is having that company and building that first house, being done with it and everything like that. It's all me. that was
to take it a step further, you talk about how much you love this. What is it to love? Just building something, seeing the completed product. Like, what really gets you like fucking fired up?
So every job has a meaning to it. You have your podcast. Everybody's got a job. Mine actually sticks around. It's a monument. It's something that's there until it's burnt down or torn down or demolished. So that is huge. Like, there's not a lot of people that can put a mark on this planet, and I am every time I do something. So that's it.
Do you also just love to see the finished products and
and I
drive somewhere like, yeah, I fucking built that shit?
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you able to keep motivated, keep going and grinding? You're older now, you have a couple daughters, your hands are all fucked up. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
How do you keep going?
Bigger dreams, I want, I just, you just want to get better. And what keeps me going? I thought I said her name about 8-10 times. She keeps me going.
She cracks the whip out and tells you.
No, she's now part of it. She's now designed this latest one, and I think we're doing pretty good as a team. And so, I think it's kind of like, it's almost like that shit you see on TV. What's those people's names?
There's a lot of people on TV.
Yeah, so we feel like that, and so it's just kind of, it's motivating. It makes me feel like we just keep going. Let's do it.
Like that one channel, the Home and Garden Network channel.
Yeah,
or the fuck.
yeah.
Speaking of that, what are your future goals? Do you have an end goal? What's your visions now that you're where you're at?
If I was gonna say if there was a goal, I don't want my wife to work at that premiere anymore. I want her to do it. Which I want her to be happy and do something that she's happy with doing. So, like, my goal would be to having us do what we're doing right now, having our own HGTV channel. I'm just kidding. Just, having her more a part of it, get her out of that, and we just kind of do our own thing.
Okay. Are you goal oriented? Do you have a bunch of goals? Do you write them down? Do you visualize them? Are you not a goal person?
No, I'm a sloppy ass son of a bitch. But I like goals like during the day. Like, for instance, if I needed to, my goal was to get 17 sheets of plywood up, and I reach those goals. Definitely, I'm a goal guy. Am I organized?
Add up and sets to a larger goal.
Correct. And am I organized? Not really. But again, it's because I'm by myself. When I have guys, I'm more organized. Mm-hmm. But I am very goal oriented. I love to have goals.
But not long term, really. You're
right.
Not like a long term guy.
No, short term goals.
Any morning or night routines? A lot of people I talk to, especially in construction, aren't much of a routine people. But some people, it's like, I have to get up at this time. I have to drink a bottle of water, and then I have to meditate. Then I have to do this and this. Or are you just like, whatever the fuck I feel like doing that day?
I always have to have coffee. In the morning, tons of it. No routine.
Okay. What habits have you forced yourself to grow out of, if any? Is there any habits that you had that you've just like, I gotta quit doing this, and that was like on top of mind and focused?
Yeah, I kept ignoring all that paperwork stuff, and I needed to stop, and I needed to start focusing on, I have to do both sides of the job, not just one. You get lost in it. So I had to stop getting lazy on the paper part of it.
What does the paper part of it mean?
Taxes,
just accounting.
Yep, the accounting and then accounting. Just making sure the state's paid and recording all your business.
So you kind of did a lot of things by yourself. Obviously, once Cara came in, it seems like she was a huge influence. You're a business owner. She's still working in healthcare. But I guess, what would you relate your success to now that you've been in business this long? I mean, they say the average business in America lasts 5 years. So you're way over that hump. So, I would say cheers, but we drank the shit out of these. So, but
no,
cheers
that's
to you
good, dude. I didn't know that.
And they say that the average business takes 5 years to profit. A lot of restaurants and people take big business loans, and you'll see their first dollar hung up, right? That's their first dollar profit. Like, holy fuck, dude, I've been grinding at this business for this amount of years, and we fucking made profit. Like, hell yeah. So, I mean, you've had big accomplishments, but would you relate your success to hard work, determination, luck, or being in the right place at the right time?
I would say two of those. Right place at the right time. and hard work. And it is hard. First 5 years of making good profit, that's a little long. I'd say 2 years, because you definitely lose on the first year. Your profit's lost. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Your second year, you kind of like, okay, I figured it out. And then the third year, you're like, okay, now I know how to charge people, right? But yeah, it can be challenging.
Well, I appreciate you having you on. I've been trying to get your ass over here for a while now.
A long time.
He was glad he came. You know, living right on the beach, there's a lot of fun stuff, so we can enjoy the evening. But I really do appreciate it. Again, check out Paramount Construction. We'll have this live streaming everywhere, video on YouTube, and yeah, man, maybe we'll have to have you on again in the future, or you know, maybe you'll have Carr in the business doing some more partnership stuff, and we could hear another side of the story.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome, man. Well, cheers.
Cheers.